I hit the button. Did it do anything? I don't really know. It says I'm live to nobody. That's cool. That's cool. But I'm live. That's what I tried to do. So I achieved my goal. What is up with it? What is up with it? All right. Well, let's try to make something happen in here. All right. What's the goal here? I think I'm just chilling. We're just chilling. That's the idea. How does the setup look? Because y'all know that I'm gonna be streaming with the homie Dr. K tomorrow. Do y'all know about Dr. K? Any reason why I'm talking to Dr. K specifically? Dog, there's so many reasons. There's so many reasons. The biggest reason is that y'all know that like I work at Twitch and stuff. I'm gonna tell this story tomorrow, I think. But basically, how many of you remember Smashboards? Will you press 1 if you use Smashboards and press 2 if you don't? So the pattern on my shirt is just filthy. It says pattern. All right, well, a bunch of you have actually used Smashboards. Okay, so Smashboards was the old home of Melee, if y'all remember that. Yeah, forum culture's fading. And Reddit is a big forum, but it's different. And I could talk about how different it is. This is an analysis that I've done over the years. I've got, I think, advanced thoughts on why Reddit is, in some ways, worse than Smashboards. Okay, so I'm thinking about what's going to be the home of Melee, right? I'm kind of freaking out. I don't know. So when I got into StarCraft 2, I got into it mostly because of Twitch. I don't understand Team Liquid, dog. Team Liquid is fucking impossible to understand. Dude, Smashboards, we have 27... What's up, Toph? What's up, my man? We have 27 characters in Melee, right? 26? 26. And I could understand Smashboards. Fucking StarCraft, dude, there's 3 races. I could not find a thing. How is this possible? 3 races. I went to teamliquid.com, was trying to figure out how do I play Protoss. I have 3 matchups I got to think about, and I could not find anything worth reading. But StarCraft 2, I got into it because of Twitch. I got into it because of Tasteless and Artosis. They're so good. And also the podcast that they did, State of the Game. ItMeJP did a bunch of podcasts, which is where Melee Army came from. I stole their tech. It felt like the community, the home of the community was on Twitch. So I'm thinking to myself, maybe the Melee community is going to move over from Smashboards over to Twitch. So like that's why I work at Twitch. Like I've always been trying to figure out how to make it like the home of Melee the same way that Smashboards was. I mean, I don't know, man. I think that I think Reddit's cool, but it doesn't feel the same. And I think that Twitch gets the homie vibe better, but I don't think that Twitch quite does it yet either, like what I dreamed that it could do. I think it could be way, way, way better. Anime is really cool. Acid. My upset that Ludwig stole my personality and became crazy successful. No. What can I do? Ludwig's his own man. Ludwig does things that I never would. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, Ludwig. Yeah, I wanted to, anyway, what was I talking about? Yeah, what do I want to talk about? Okay, all the way back. What do I want to talk about with Dr. K? I want to talk about, so he does AoE healing. I feel like what I do, like my dream, the thing that I care about the most, my dharma, as he would call it, my purpose, is, it's like AoE belonging, Holmes. You know what belonging is? I've studied that shit my whole life. I don't know why. I've just been obsessed with belonging. And that's like my, I'm trying to do that AoE. I think that Twitch could do AoE belonging heckin' nice. I think that Dr. K is doing some stuff that I foresaw. I'm gonna talk about that. I foresaw his existence. Yeah, belonging is why we're here, dude. That's like what my commentary is always about. It's always about like, you know, how much Melee did for me. You know, I want to give back. At least you know what you want to do. I'm here drifting like dang. I was in Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift. Dude, YOLO Swaggin', I'm gonna find the single best YouTube video of all time. I shared it with Blur. That's how good it is. And Blur said that it's the best thing he's ever seen. It's actually probably the single best YouTube video on the internet. It's only 20 minutes, and there's so much god tier advice in this 20-minute video. Yeah, if me and Blur agree, if you don't know what you're doing in life, you need to click that video and watch it. I do think it's that good. Yeah, Dharma is just like your duty or responsibility. Okay, so the video is about finding your purpose, right? Yeah, it's about finding your purpose. And generally, it seems like for people, at some point we get hurt. We do get hurt. Have you never been hurt? I think we all get hurt. And then we want to like fix that somehow. There's like a deep desire to like fix stuff that humans have. So I'm learning a little bit about how the brain works. There's this homie named Ian McGilchrist. It's not about the pop culture bullshit left brain, right brain stuff. It's like a serious look at hemispheric differences. Left hemisphere, this one's definitely right. And it's not like that they do different things, it's the way that they do things is different. So like one mode that people can be in is it's like what you see is more or less all there is. Your whole brain, when it's in this manipulate mode, it's like what you see is straight up all there is. And so like meaning, yeah, if I feel like shit is meaningless and I'm feeling really not good, it's almost like you have to look at things a totally different way. There's like a different mode of looking at the world that human beings can activate, and it's a different way of looking at things. I think that it's pretty wild. Hey, I'm gonna tell you something about pointlessness and meaninglessness. Sometimes when I'm commentating, I'll tell you, sometimes I think about what matters, what's meaningful. Like, I don't have a really good answer. I remember commentating Armada Mango when they were going hard back and forth. This is like 2014. And I remember there being final sets where, you know, I've asked myself, like, a lot of the time, what's the point? Why am I here? Like, what's... But when I'm watching Mango vs. Armada in that way, I know that that shit's meaningful. This is two players who have like dedicated their lives to the game. In other words, I knew why I was there. I knew why I was watching. I knew why I was commentating. We were brought together by the game, and there were two players who were gods who had been battling it out for, you know, months and years, and that was why we were there. And I like that a lot. There's no question that that's meaningful, who wins between the two of those players. Here's what I feel about existing in the moment. I feel like that is exactly the way that I want to play if I play more. And I think I will play a little bit more, and I'm playing hot because here's what I'm doing. I'm basically allowing myself to not think about jack shit other than melee. Only while I'm playing, right? I actually think that it would be sick to have like a 30-minute every day, someone's doing a melee meditation for 30 minutes where you're basically practicing and some homie is on the other end. Maybe it's Toph, it could be me, it could be somebody, I don't know. I was thinking it's just like, just tell me to hold the controller. Like, let the content, let that 30 minutes be time for us to just like drop everything except the game. I think that's sick. That's one of the things that's cool about commentary. There's this thing about holding space. Y'all heard about holding space? All right, holding space is basically, how do I say this simply? Thank you, Are the Fam. I really appreciate it, dude. Holding space is like when someone, okay, I could hold space for y'all for a minute if I basically say, hey, for a minute, I want you guys to just sit and do nothing. And if anybody like says you need to do something else, have them talk to me. I'm holding this space right now. That's what holding space basically is. Foxtrot, what you're saying is true in my opinion. We are communal creatures. We do need a place. I'm going to talk about that shit tomorrow, man. I'm going to talk about, so you could call it like community homelessness. I think identity homelessness is literally the best way to put it. So like, what am I? For most of my life, it's like, what am I? Am I an American? Am I a Philadelphian? Am I, what am I? Am I an Eagles fan? Like, I'm not any of these things. Yeah, until Melee, I didn't have like a thing to call myself. But now, I'm a smasher. That's it. I've been a smasher. I'm not a Twitch employee either. Like, I don't feel like I identify as a Twitch employee. I work at Twitch, yes. But I don't identify that way. I'm not riding or dying Twitch employee. I'll ride or die smash. I'll ride or die, dude. I'll go down with y'all. If it comes to it, if there's an all-out brawl battle of all humans, like we all just lose our idea that like we shouldn't fight each other and we're just gonna fucking fight everybody, like families turn against each other, I'm not fighting any Melee community members. All you gotta do is show me your controller, show me that you can L cancel one time, shuffle one time, and you're in with me. Identity is actually fucking huge. I haven't told anybody really. I have told some people, but I think that I have like a theory of like everything. Like humans and how we work and why the world's fucked. Kind of fucked. Not super fucked, you know what I mean? Jimbo, I changed my mind, dude. H-Box is a bad pick. I think that he's really good versus humans. That's the thing that changed my thought that he would be the best versus the aliens. I don't know if the aliens are like non-human and they don't experience fear the way that we do. I think Hungrybox might be going for some shit and like they don't bite. Zane is definitely a good pick. Now, you ever think about like, all right, yeah, I'm just gonna go this way. I have recently been thinking about how is it that everyone seems to be pissed when, you know, when people aren't listening to them, people aren't paying attention to them. We feel physical pain when we're uncomfortable, and we try to fix that. Obviously, when we're hungry, try to fix that. If we're cold. But how is it that we all have the right word, I think, is expectation. Other people are going to pay attention to us. Now, it makes perfect sense from an evolutionary standpoint, right? Where it's like the whole point of life is to live and to pass on the genes and to keep the flame of life alive. Makes a bunch of sense from an evolutionary standpoint, because when we're born, as all animals are, we suck. We can't take care of ourselves. We need other people to take care of us. That expectation that we have, that people are going to pay attention to us, my belief is that it's not random. Belonging is made of identity and trust. That's... If you think about trust is a deep fucking topic. Yeah, I've written a lot of this down. I've written it too many times, and I've written it in too many different ways. I gotta write it in one way. I need a one-page one. I need a one-pager. Trust is super biological. Dude, trust is wild. Trust is, I think, a modifier on every single thought that we have. Like, basically, you have a bunch, like, every thought, you could trust it a lot, you could trust it a little. You could trust it 100%, you believe that it's true. All right, basically, my belief is that our expectations for who should be paying attention to us, how much, etc., are, like, mappable. By a professor, he doesn't believe in true love, disagrees that true love could exist, personal sense of accomplishment in their so-called creation. I don't think anyone gets this shit. I think very few people get what is going on with love, belonging. When I look at nations, when I look at tribes, when I look at cults are the bad versions, manipulating people. When I look at corporations and what they're learning about like corporate values and stuff like this, basically what I'm talking about is people detect whether they belong in a group of people based on like specific markers. Here's what I believe. I believe there's no enduring sense of belonging. There's no stable sense of belonging if the group doesn't have a shared purpose. I think what cults do, it's pretty, it's interesting in a fucked up way. They like obfuscate things. So you need this kind of sense of history and like a purpose, but they hide it. Well, anyway, I think that the social sense, it starts from identity, and there's like different ways in which it goes, and you can only build belonging on top of an identity. You need a shared identity, and it only stays together if there's a shared purpose. And if you're advancing the shared purpose and other people know, then that's what esteem is. This is what I think. And if you have enough of like cred or whatever, enough cred in your clout. When you get enough clout and you've got the esteem, that's like the self-actualization. Like, we need to express ourselves. Yes, I'm quiet as fuck in general, aside from Melee, pretty much. Do you know what it is? I don't like the idea that anyone's listening. I don't like the idea that I need to keep anyone's attention. Y'all are here, and if you get bored of what I'm saying, you can leave, and that makes me feel good. I get real fucking wiggy when I'm like talking to people, and I don't know if they're having a good time. So here's the thing. I don't actually think that there's any such thing as like an individual identity. I'm like not even kidding. I've thought about this for like years, and I did think an individual identity made sense most of the time, but the deeper I got into it, the more I felt that identity is literally defined in relation to others. In other words, if I'm the only thing in existence, what is my identity? Like, how do I know where I begin and where, like, do I think about that when I commentate? No, because when I commentate, basically what I'm trying to do, I swear to God, this is what I'm trying to do. Like, I believe that Melee is like the flame. It's like a flame that pulls us together. And that I kind of constructed an identity. I constructed, and a lot of us constructed identity of like, we are people who are around the flame or whatever. What I try to do when people watch a tournament is I'm trying to get out of the way. Y'all are watching Melee in its purest form. And all I'm trying to do is like, let what is Melee get in. Especially for people who are new to the community, I like to tell the history and the story. I'm like trying to get a sense of how big this thing is, right? It's not just this moment. It's not just the screen. It's not just these two players right now. It's this big fucking thing, right? That we've all kept alive. Sometimes I think about, man, what if no one, like if we die, if we all die, we're all dead. And like Smashboards is gone and like no one hears about Melee anymore. Then it's like, it's all, everything we kind of did is gone. But then it's like, sometimes I think, what if there's one video that survived? And then it's like this whole, everything that we put in to make that video survive then like lives. Ooh, it's so sick. So sick. Actually, Genesis had me thinking about how shit it is. My Twitter game is bad. Toph was just chilling in the room after finals, and he was like tweeting. He was just talking with us, and then when he would say something interesting, he would tweet it. I didn't tweet shit. You know what I mean? Why don't I do that? But I was thinking very deeply after Genesis how amazing it is that we're in a new year, a new decade, and a newcomer to the top 8 stage took that tournament. I think that it's like unquestionable forward progress for the game. And I feel, so when I think about, you think about not RPGs, what's it called? RTS games. I don't know if y'all played StarCraft at all. In StarCraft and RTS games, you basically have to spend a bunch of time researching different technology, different facilities, so that you can get bigger and badder units and stuff. And I was thinking about how, you know, from 2009 or whatever, it took 11 years of us keeping the community alive and investing in. It took us 11 years to research a Marth that could beat Hungrybox Puff. It took 11 years of research for Zane to come into existence and make it happen. Toph and I were thinking about doing, I'm interested in what your thoughts on this are, Melee's next top commentator. We're thinking about doing like a boot camp and like a summit style thing that's focused on talking about commentary, talking about what's good about commentary. And I mean, I'll do my best to share how I think about it. I actually kind of think that would be a little bit egotistical or arrogant of me to like think that I could teach commentary, but apparently people think that I'm good at it. So one of the things that I think that I might knock people about from a commentary standpoint, and that I really care about, and that I think, like if I were doing an American Idol or Next Top Model or whatever, and I was giving that, you know, I'm the Simon whatever, and I'm being mean to people, what I would be most upset about is like people not taking I have a big thing about responsibility. I want people to take responsibility when they're responsible. When you're commentating the match, you're responsible. I felt responsible for you from the moment that I got on the mic. Actually, that's not true. The first time I commentated, I felt like it was about me. And I sucked. And then the Spirit Bomb happened, and I realized that it was nothing to do with me. You know, I'll put in as much money as I can, but if I commentate better, you know, if I was talking about the Spirit Bomb better, like the goal is, it's all about you. It has nothing to do with me. Does that kind of make sense? Hopefully that kind of makes sense. And so sometimes I get pissed off when I'm thinking to myself, these commentators are not taking responsibility for the viewers. And I think sometimes big moments are happening, and it's like, sometimes it seems to me like a commentator is kind of, they're still commentating what is on the screen, and they're not talking about what's not on the screen. I think there are sheiks out there that are theory crafting on how to be the best like Zayn did. I don't know. But the point is that Zayn came in and took responsibility for that matchup. Does that make sense? I don't know what it is, but there are some people who have a combination of the will to win, the confidence, and the creativity to push. You need a lot of things to actually be a Zayn. And usually what I find is that there's a combination of people where, you know, for me, I took responsibility as a Falcon for dope-ass combos and, like, comboing, period. Like, when I got a hit, I felt it was my responsibility to figure out how to get the next hit. Dream dev for a spiritual successor to Melee, and what do you think it would take for someone to grab Melee? Dude, I don't really think that anybody's going to get the Melee community. Melee is such a dope game, dude. I honestly don't think that... I don't know, man. I just don't see it. Personally, I don't see it. I think that I am good at predicting what communities will do. Why? Because I'm obsessed with it. Have I ever struggled with success? Fuck yeah. I've gotten too much success for free, and the success that I want, I'm very far away from. What are my plans for the future? That's all going to come up tomorrow. Absolutely. It's all going to come up tomorrow with Dr. K. Because basically, I feel like I found my purpose, and I did a lot of research. What are the predictions I think most about? I think most about how the world can get better, and I think that the world is going to move towards... I don't have a word for it. I don't think we have a word for it, but I'm calling it like super tribes or some shit. There's going to be like a reorganization in my mind of like society or whatever. And I think I know a lot about what it's going to look like, and I think it's going to be good and better, because I think that the big problem with... No, it's different from it's non-physical. It's going to be non-physical. It's not countries, it's not a nation state. In my opinion, like, people are meant to be held together by a thing. It used to be the land. It's no longer the land. We're not held together by the land. I am an optimist. I do think this is going to happen. What's driving the change in society? People. It's 100% people powered. It's not systems. Here's what I think should happen. People will find a thing that they are passionate about. For fun. Fucking fun, right? For fun. For us, it's Melee. For somebody else, I mentioned it might be knitting, it might be this, it might be that. I don't know. Do you think it's possible to overcome the need to belong, or is that a futile endeavor? I think it's possible. I think that they call it enlightenment. I think that it's fucking hard. And I think that it's not... It's like, can we all learn to perfectly ledge dash every single time? Yes. But is it going to happen? And each person who doesn't transcend the need for belonging feels abandoned, and they make it worse for everybody else. Like, it is never good when someone feels abandoned and like they don't belong. It's bad on the whole social system. That's the truth. Could you not say that people want to contribute to a greater good for more selfish reasons? Okay, well, what I think about selfish and altruistic is that it goes in a perfect circle, and like you actually can't tell the difference. So this is something that people internal to Twitch talk about a lot. People talk about, why do people sub? Why do people use bits? Is it selfish or is it altruistic? What do y'all think? Press 1 if you think it's selfish. Press 2 if you think it's altruistic. I will spoil, and I'm going to press 3 because I think it's a stupid question. I think that everything that we do is both. More 1s than 2s, but not a ton of votes, and I like that. Sometimes people want to see their name on the screen, so in that case, selfish, yes. Some people do it for attention and validation. Some people do it to support. This could be brought back to the spirit bomb. Indeed it could. Indeed it could. And that shit, nobody got recognized for. We all got recognized for. I don't know. I think that was the sickest shit. Does it not come down to the individual? Interesting question. And my subs are definitely subbing and not getting any fucking content. So, I mean, I feel like it's definitely altruistic for my homies. But, is it situational or per basis example? This is the thing, right? I think that it's more complicated. I think it's kind of a stupid question. I really do. Because, like, why are we ever nice? Like, don't we kind of want the people that we're nice to be nice to us? Like, does that mean that it's selfish? It can be both. It absolutely can be both. It absolutely can be both. I agree with that. We talk about selfish like it's a bad thing sometimes. Yes, and it isn't always bad. Very true, Shelly. If being altruistic makes you feel good, then it's still selfish, right? So you can just go in a loop. This is the point that I'm trying to make, is that you could just go in a fucking loop. Like, at a certain point, it's kind of a stupid question. That's kind of what I'm saying, because Pop Frost, thanks for tuning in. My night's great. I'm actually really, really enjoying sitting here with y'all. In my mind, here's what I think is true. It boils down to, can I see you as a shared identity? Like, do I see my identity in you? Do I identify with you? With Smashers, I identify with Smashers. With someone who looks fucking like me, yes, I identify with them like as a human. I see me more through a person who looks like me than who doesn't. Thus, right, it's a shortcut, it's a hack. And now, we live in a world where... Do I identify with Ludwig? To an extent. To an extent. I think we've got some values, you know. Yes, I think this is exactly why nationalism becomes a thing. And I'm trying to co-opt the human mechanism that leads to nationalism. I'm trying to take the mechanism that already exists, that leads to religion, that leads to cults, that leads to nationalism, that leads to this, that, and the other, that leads to companies fucking creating values and shit, right? To like have people work harder. That all the same mechanism has been co-opted by so many things, and that's driving behavior at a crazy scale, right? I'm trying to take that, and what I think needs to be true is it just needs to be channeled towards shared purpose, shared passion. Society's a cult. Kinda. Okay, yeah, Ajax, good point. You can't develop a universal purpose. That's why it needs to be based on like shared interests. They have to be much smaller. They have to be smaller. A universal purpose will fail. A universal purpose is what I think the world has been, what I think the Western world has been trying to achieve and failing miserably. You can't make progress on any complex issues in our world. Even at companies. Companies that get to a certain size, like no one knows what's true anymore. There's no incentive to... Things get out of whack. And there's something that happens automatically in Melee. So I would say that I'm more of a top-down leader, okay? I'm more of a top-down leader. Because basically, I have the history, right? I've been here for a long time, and I try to tell the story. And what I really care about is telling a true story. I want to make sure that the story that I'm telling you all about Melee is true. That's more or less all that I care about. And that's not true. I care about things being true, and on top of that, I super duper care about making the community safe, not only for the people today, but the people tomorrow. And so I have a ton of incentive to listen to what y'all say. So, right, like when Ladandis tells me that my commentary makes him feel like shit, I read it and I think to myself, wow, that's not what I want. And I sat and I reflected and I changed my behavior and I brought Ladandis on the show and I said, I'm super sorry. I fucked up. My bad. And he taught me something and I never repeated that mistake again. Which, by the way, the only way people learn, how the fuck does anybody know how to be a leader in the world? Seriously. You know how you learn? You make mistakes and people tell you, hey, you fucked up, and you have to actually care, you have to actually listen, you have to actually change. That's the way that people become leaders. That's the way. No one's born knowing how to do this. Yeah, how did we learn how to play Melee? We learn by fucking up. Yes. And so, like, that's how top-down, like, direction or whatever, like, gets, right? There's these bottom-up information, and it is very painful. Growth is very, very, very painful. And I am very, 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 very sensitive to people feeling like they belong or like they don't belong. I'm incredibly sensitive. I'm fucking crazy sensitive to it. It's why I'm insane. And so if I feel that I'm making someone feel like they don't belong, or if I feel that someone's saying something that might make someone else feel like they don't belong, but they should, in my fuck community, in the Melee community, I get upset. I can tell. You know, I feel it, and I try to educate, and in the Melee community, it all works out. But there's a problem. In society, it doesn't work out for me. I am not that great in society, and I've been asking why. Why? Why am I so different in the real world? And the only thing that makes sense to me, and I've done a lot of research, I did 100 days of an hour-a-day meditation to fucking figure out why am I such a different person in the non-Melee community. The only thing that makes sense to me is that, like, we don't, when I go out in public, we don't have a shared purpose. I don't know what they care about. I don't know what they're about. We don't have anything. When I'm at work, we don't have a shared purpose. There's no in-group. There's no shared identity. There's no... And diversity is fucking filthy. Diversity is godlike. But diversity within a shared identity is when it works, because we've got trust within this, right? Humanity as a whole doesn't have a shared identity or goal. Neither does America. I've had a problem with this for, I think, like 10 years, where I was like, can someone please just write down, like, can a candidate say, like, here's what I'm going to do? Could we just, like, talk about as Americans, like, what are we doing? Like, what's our goal? What are we trying to do here? And, like, nobody can answer. It's like, what the fuck? What is the election about? All right, I got to go. My kid's definitely yelling for me. Thank you all so much for watching. Peace. Love y'all.